Hello and welcome to Soaking Up Life with me, Emily Atack. This episode we're talking about change, from jobs to relationships, from family to friends. So to help me navigate my way through the world of change, I'm joined by stand-up comedian, writer and actress, the amazing Ellie Taylor. Ellie Taylor.
Hello.
What do you think of my bathroom?
It makes me want a pink toilet, and I've never thought that in my life before.
Oh, really? Is this nothing like your bathroom?
No, gosh, it's so much more beige in every sense.
Nice. No balls in the bath?
No balls in the bath, and that's my loss, I would say. It's lovely, lovely what you've done with the place.
It's got a good vibe. I always say you can have a laugh in it, you can have a cry, you know.
You can have a wash.
Have a wash.
Yeah.
They're very soapy. I've been following your career for a really long time. I decided I wanted a change in my career when I decided to do a bit of stand-up. People thought I was mental for trying that. So I was YouTubing female comics. You were someone that I became quite obsessed with, actually. Really, really looked up to. You're hilarious. And for me, just sort of getting straight into it, like what was the moment for you you realised you wanted to do something like that?
I think it was a gradual thing in a way, because I'd always shown off and stuff as a kid.
Yeah.
Loved a bit of showing off, and always wanted a sort of job in performance. But as you know, often happens, things sort of don't pan out that way. I was in an office job. I was like mid-20s, feeling like I'd sort of let myself down and looking back to the glory days of university, and you can't be nostalgic when you're 25. That's madness. Yeah. So I saw a friend of mine do some stand-up and thought, I went to see her just do an open mic gig, and I was like, oh, you did the same course as me, and we've both done the same sort of acting stuff. Oh, if you can do that, I can do that.
Originally that you
I wanted to be an actor. There was a point I wanted to be a singer, but I can't sing, so I honestly don't know what that was about. But yeah, I just knew I wanted to perform in some way. So when I saw her do that stand-up thing, it just sort of made it accessible for me for the first time. I'd never thought about stand-up. I never really watched any stand-up. Right. Apart from that, maybe one gig I'd been to see.
What was it you loved about it, do you think?
Well, I just thought, I've always written funny things and I want to show off. I'll have a go at that.
That admit that they love showing off.
Yeah, I think that's something you get better at when you get old. You're made to feel like it's a shameful thing when you're younger. Stop showing off. Yeah. Are you showing off? And now I'm like, no, it's okay. It's okay to show off. It's okay to be.
Especially if you're funny.
Yeah.
You just
that
want
helps.
to show off
that
being funny. So were you kind of like the sort of naughty girl in the class?
But no, not really. No, none of my friends would say I'm the class clown or anything. Oh, right. In my family, I was the funny one, but not at school. I still don't think my girlfriends would say I'm, the standout funny one. Because I imagine, all of my girlfriends are hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, God, absolutely. Yeah.
No one is funnier than my gaggle of women.
Do you know what? That's so similar to me. Yeah. My gaggle of women are the best, and I call them the gaggle. How weird is that?
So yeah, I saw this guy stand up, put my name down, thought I'll just do it once, just to sort of tick it off the list.
Yeah.
But the guy I'd started dating at the time was older than me, had a swanky job, ended up marrying him. It's a nice one. And he's a journalist, right? And he was he's sort of an international correspondent. And he was like, oh, that's really cool you're doing stand-up. You should do that again. And I was like, okay, successful man. Basically, I chose my career to show off to a man.
Oh my God.
And that's the lesson I'll teach my daughter.
This is literally what I do in my life.
Isn't that awful?
Everything is based around a bloke.
Which is awful, but in this instance, it has worked out okay.
I changed my WhatsApp picture for a guy. I changed my Instagram bio for a guy.
Have you changed your career?
Certain parts. Definitely. With the comedy thing as well. So I sort of thought back in the day, it's all very well and good kind of doing these, pin-up lads mags, but I think it's quite sexy to be funny as well. So I'm going to try and be a bit funny.
It's sexy for the right kind of guys. Yeah. If guys don't find that sexy and find that threatening, they're not the right guys.
That's so true. Yeah. So was it quite a big adjustment going from the acting side of things to that, or did you kind of fit into that change nicely?
Because it'd been years since I'd done anything acting. And it was just, it started off just as a little hobby on the side. I'd work in the day and then, 5:30 would come and I'd go and lock myself in the stationery cupboard, grab, a Sharpie and have a little, just go through my set, go and do a gig. And I'd do that a couple of times a week. And with
did you like that?
I did. It was just a way to vent my desire to show off and to give myself self-worth, which I had completely lost in that job because it was a good job, it was good fun, but I didn't want to do it.
Right.
I had no interest in it. And I felt so, and I think as we often do, I felt so defined by it. And I knew that there was more to me. Then not that there's anything wrong with doing a 9 to 5 if that's what you're happy with, but I didn't want that. I really didn't want that. So it just gave me back a sense of pride a bit, really. And I did it with no ambition to make it into a career, but it just started going well. And then eventually I got an agent. And then I got to a point where I had to make a decision to leave the job.
Right.
And we're talking about changes today, and that was probably that was the biggest change, I suppose.
That was like quite a defining.
Yeah, it was a real are you going to go left or are you going to go right?
Right.
Which path are you going to take? And it was, I'd never even been paid for stand-up at this point, and I got offered a part in a TV show. It was like the X Factor for comedy. No one watched it. It was on ITV a million years ago.
What was that?
It's called Show Me the Funny.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Jason Mumford hosted it.
I remember that.
My mum watched it. I watched it. That was about it. But to do it, I had to quit my job.
Right.
And I was so like, oh my God, I've got a pension. Do I want to do this? And all of my family and my husband, my boyfriend, was like, it's an absolute no-brainer.
So that's good. So you had support from your family.
Totally.
Because I find a lot of people in life, when they want to make a big change like that, they don't always have that support, and people are going, no, you need to get a real job. Especially if you're a performer.
Yeah.
Do you come from a family of performers?
No.
And so that's really lucky that they understood that that's what you wanted to do.
Absolutely. And with sort of, not like, silly optimism, not really like, oh my God, you're amazing, you're going to be absolutely incredible, just sort of with a, no, of course you should give it a go, like real sort of, just sort of a steadfast belief in me when I didn't necessarily see that. And my husband's been like that the whole way through. He's been absolutely instrumental, really, to everything.
Good. That's nice.
Yeah, and again, not with like gushing and, doesn't put me on a pedestal. He's just like, no, of course you can do
celebrates
this.
you.
Absolutely.
Oh, God, that's nice.
Isn't it?
Has he got any mates?
They're all quite old.
Forget it.
I don't think they're for you, love. Sorry.
I mean, how old are we talking?
Well, he's not.
I might do a bit of a change on this. I've been dating guys in their 20s and it's not getting me anywhere.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay. No, you've got to go older. You should go for a nice 40-year-old.
Shut up. Really?
Yeah.
See, 40 scares me. 40, I go...
My husband is, in the next couple of years, will be 50. And I'm like, no, your dad is 50. Your husband is not 50. Because I'm nearly 40, he's nearly 50. Yeah, 10-year difference. Which is, I'd really recommend it. Because when I met him, he just knew what he wanted.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd been dating guys my age and they were still fanning around.
They're still children
to a degree.
How is it that we're still saying about men when they're sort of 28, 33, go, yeah, but they're still young. I'm like, no, they're not. They're fully grown men. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah, go older.
What are you like with change in general?
I think I fear it more. I think that the idea of it scares me more than the reality.
Yeah, I think the same. Yeah.
And I think I adapt quicker than I give myself credit for, perhaps.
Right.
But sometimes, it's sort of different levels of change, isn't it? Sometimes it's good change, sometimes it's that you want, sometimes it's something that you have to deal with out of the blue.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I can't work out if I love a bit of change or not, because I'm very sentimental and I get very attached to things and people and places. But then I move house all the time because I've got a psychological problem with that.
Really?
So it's like I can't work out if I like a change or not. I'm still working that out.
How many places have you lived in the last couple of years?
Oh, like four places. And literally in the last 2 years, I've lived in 4 different places. Yeah. So maybe I like.
What are you looking for?
I don't. Do you know what? I'm still figuring it out. I don't know. And I don't know about whether it's about personal change or professional. Professional change, I think, in this profession, we work in similar industries. I think we're kind of used to not knowing what's around the corner and used to having to adapt to things. But I think personal change I find a bit confusing. I don't know if I love it or hate it.
Stakes are higher, I suppose, aren't they?
But I think as well, obviously being a woman, the pressure to, make that change, especially when you sort of hit 30, it's like, well, have you knuckled down the bloke and the marriage and the kids and all that? For you, when was that kind of defining moment? Did you feel the pressure to kind of do those things early on? Or
yeah, I did. I think it's really hard to sort of work out whether, for instance, getting married, if you really want to get married or you think you should get married because all of your friends are, and that's what everyone asks you when you're going to get engaged. And that became like a real issue within my relationship about the fact that my boyfriend wasn't proposing.
Yeah.
And it became like it was like a toxic bit of our relationship where I was like, so angry that he hadn't proposed
But
because
were you
I
more
was
angry?
such a
Yeah,
flipping
because everyone else had done that.
And everyone else was sort of engaged or married and settled down.
And
I
everyone's
wasn't.
passively going, has he not done it yet?
No, still not. Oh, 5 years. Oh. And I was like, just shit, I'll get off the pot because I'm great. But I'm marriage material. We have a nice relationship. Why wouldn't you want to marry me? And it got to a point where it was like,
so many times.
right,
I've said that so many times.
you've got to know your own self-worth, don't you?
God, yeah.
And it did become a tricky bit of our relationship. And then he did propose, and then I kind of realised, I don't actually really care about getting married. I just wanted to get proposed to.
Loads of people say that.
It's very complicated.
Yeah.
To unpick that, I don't think you'd ever get clear definition about if you really want to get married or if you just feel the pressure.
Well, do you always feel certain about your decisions?
No, I don't. And I think I heard a really good bit of advice from someone who's very similar to me.
Give it to me.
Barack Obama. And
good.
Barack
Bloody
Obama,
good guy.
He is, good lad.
Good lad.
Apparently, when he makes decisions, and when he made decisions when he was in office, he would use the 51% rule, which is if you are 51% sure of something,
Yeah.
just do it. Don't wait.
51%?
Yeah, don't wait till you get to 90, because to get to 90, you'll hang around for ages.
Yeah, and procrastinate.
So once you hit 51%, do it. If it doesn't work out, well, then you've got time to pivot and do something else. And I think it does free you up when you start thinking like that.
51%?
Yeah, because it's not that, like, it's just like,
gonna
go on then,
start
I'm going to give it a
turning my life
shot.
upside
Oh, God,
down.
what have I done? She's moving house again tomorrow.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I kind of live my life like that, going, yeah, I'm going to do that for a bit. I'm going to do, and people are like, you need to sort of think about the consequences a little bit. And
Are you quite impulsive?
I'm very impulsive, and I don't really believe in regret. So I don't really regret anything. What are you like with regret? Do you ever regret decisions that you make?
I think I mostly regret, and I think most people would say that I regret the things I haven't done than the things I have done and haven't worked out or gone how I would like.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that pushes me towards saying yes to things, because I'm like, I'd rather know with certainty that I'd made the wrong decision.
You know, that's how I live my life.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I would definitely rather be sitting there and not wondering what if.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. What's the best decision you've ever made, do you think? It's quite a bold question, isn't it? But...
It is, and it's a boringly sort of twee answer.
Go on, give it to me.
But it's probably having a kid.
Oh, that's nice.
But it is, and it
lovely.
wasn't, it wasn't something, I didn't, glide into deciding to get prego or trying to get prego. That was a real, do I actually want to do this? Crikey, this is going to be awful. And it was awful for a bit. But now I'm so glad I
Is it the
have
best
her.
thing ever?
It is. It's taken up, it took years to get to the point where I truly see it. But now I feel incredibly grateful that I have a child, and I'm so glad I made that decision.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so nice.
Yeah,
I'm really
quite
broody
nice.
now. 51%, right.
Oh, God. Watch out, the cameramen are looking nervous.
Oh my God. Did it sort of doing things like that? I mean, obviously we live in a world with social media comparing lives and all that kind of stuff. What are you like with comparing your life to other people? Are you quite good at not doing that? Or
No, I'm pretty bad. I think.
Oh,
it's
are
just,
you?
Yeah.
See, I would have said that you're very sort of sure of yourself, like you're.
I think I've got more sure of myself.
Yeah.
Certainly in my 30s. I think the difference between me now being 40 later this year and how I was when I turned 30, very different. It's been such a decade of change, but sort of quiet change that I haven't really noticed. I back myself so much more now, and it's lovely to finally get to a point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I believe this is self-confidence. How nice.
That's nice.
It is lovely. It's a really comfortable place to be.
What do you think has been the biggest change for you recently, professional or career?
I think from a personal point of view, it was my sister moving to Australia a couple of years ago, which was really tough.
Australia takes everyone away.
I know, because it's really... Have you been?
I went in a jungle in there, so I didn't really see
I forgot
any of
that
it.
you did that, yeah.
Didn't really see any of it.
Yeah, I don't think that's like the real Aussie experience.
No. I was like, that time when I was in Australia, everyone was like, you were sleeping in a hammock with John Barrowman. It's not the same
I've
thing.
never done that,
No.
sadly, when I've been to
You should
Sydney.
try it.
Okay. Australia's amazing, so... Yeah, I'm not surprised they've gone there. It's wonderful, but it's really sad, and it's like for our family, me and my mum and my little girl, it's taken a couple of years. that they've been out there to sort of get our heads around it.
What are you like with self-acceptance?
I feel like I'm very aware of all my flaws, and I think that's really healthy to be able to be points to what you know you're crap at, or patterns of behaviour that you repeat, even though you know that they're not helpful.
I can't not repeat them.
Tricky. That's very frustrating. You get frustrated with yourself, and you sort of see yourself like, why are you doing that? Why are you talking like that?
Yeah,
that's tricky. It's definitely a personality type to do it.
Yes.
Although I don't quite understand. I don't understand why I've got into comedy really, because I've had a lovely upbringing. Very stable family, lovely time at school. So all of the things that you'd think would make for someone needing validation, I don't need validation. I have love and support. So I don't know why I started into stand-up really. I think doing self-evaluation, like my own psychoanalysis, I think it's because I was really tall as a kid.
Okay.
Like I'm 5'11" now.
That's tall.
It's tall. Yeah. But as a kid, I was massive. Like I think I was 5'7" when I was 11.
Right.
Giant. I was a giant child. And I think I've absorbed all of that, and that's what's made me like a bit weird, because I was so self-conscious of it.
Oh, you were self-conscious. So
but then my mum was like, you weren't that self-conscious. And I'm like, yes, I was. Yeah. That's what it done it to me, mother. Yeah, yes. But maybe that's a complete load of bollocks. I don't know.
That's really interesting. Finally, how do you embrace change as something positive? I know you just said you're a pessimist, so this might be hard to answer.
But on a good day, when, you know, my brain's in gear and I'm not listening to depressing music for the drama, I think you just have to think that change is going to happen in life. And you can either despair about it or just go with it, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Do you know what? My mum always goes, everything works out in the end.
Yeah.
And it's such a flippant meh. But I'm like, do you know what?
Yeah,
it is.
It does. There's nothing that, as long as you're healthy and like your loved ones are there and happy and healthy, there's literally nothing else that can't be sorted.
Do you want another little thing that
yes,
I heard?
Please.
This, and I love this. I saw Sarah Kendall, who's an amazing Aussie comedian. She did a show once, stand-up show, and it was about this phrase that she'd heard, and I think it might be like a Chinese proverb, I think, and it's basically good news, bad news, who can tell? Which is, if something great happens to you, like Emily, you've got this incredible job, amazing. At the time, you think good news, but further down the line, it might mean, well, that meant you actually missed out on this thing, so you can't really tell. But if something bad happens to you, at the time, dreadful. But then further down the line, you might go, oh, well, that was actually brilliant. Because of that, I met that person. Wow. So when anything happens to you, don't judge it too much. Just think, good news, bad news, who can tell? Just go with it and see what happens.
That is bloody amazing.
If I listened to myself, I'd be so wise.
You need to record yourself and listen to yourself back.
Just that and Barack Obama.
But that's the thing, isn't it? I think we, as human beings, we're good at giving the advice. We can't take it.
We know it. Yeah. We just don't do it.
So true. Well, okay, that leads me to asking about your bathroom affirmations. Do you have any of those? Do you talk to yourself in the mirror? I talk to myself more in the shower nowadays. I have a little chat to myself.
Do you?
Well, what you just said there, I think that's going to be my new bathroom affirmation.
Good news, bad news, who can tell?
Yeah. How do you say it again?
Good news, bad news, who can tell?
Who can tell? That's how I'm going to live my life now.
What's my bathroom mantra? I just think, I do try and be, I suppose it's like, you're so lucky. I'm so lucky. Don't be a twat, you're so lucky.
Don't be a twat, you're so lucky.
Yeah.
Again,
that's a beautiful motto, isn't it?
That is honestly the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
Don't be a twat.
I've got goosebumps. Do you want a little treat?
Is it free?
Yeah.
I love free stuff.
It's free. So I've got you the Real Zing body sorbet.
Ooh.
Yeah, give it a whiff. Oh, that's nice. That's like it really is like sorbet.
Oh.
You know, like
yes.
Like an icy sorbet. Don't eat it though. I always have
That'd be or like limoncello.
Oh my God, it is like limoncello.
That is fresh as a daisy. Fresh as a lemon sorbet, actually.
Yeah, imagine you're with the gaggle and you're in Italy and you're having a lemon
that's
sorbet.
Really lovely. Thanks.
Having a limoncello.
Thanks, babes.
You are so welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much for, the therapy session.
Thank you so much for moisturising my hands.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Emily Atack, and my lovely guest has been Ellie Taylor. Next time you look in your bathroom mirror, just remember, don't be a twat. You're so lucky. See you next time.